All right, everybody, super excited here in the infamous Vital Performance studio at this point. Great special guest on today. This is the Vital Wire. All right, Kurt, thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
This happened pretty quick. I messaged you last week, like, hey, bro, we have to have you on the podcast. You damn near did it that day. Yeah. I was like, you want me to come now? So super cool. I'm grateful that you were able to come on. But really what I want to do is I attach to a lot of your story, but also your product with, we share a commonality for sure, which we'll get into. But really I told you, and I've told a lot of people as we do this that listen, it's just like, I just want people to know who's in our community and the stories and what you've built and what you're building is just super cool, man. So first of all, what I want to do is just kind of, let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school? All the things. And then we'll kind of jump into what you're doing.
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me, guys.
Yeah,
I greatly appreciate it. It's pretty awesome to tell my story because we've come a long way in the past 6 years, I guess. Yeah. Since 2016 is when we started. So I'm from Marthasville, Missouri, little town of 1,000 people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar. You blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
It's a one-horse town.
I'm from Cuba, Missouri. I get it.
Yeah.
We've looked at a ton of land out there, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's God's
beautiful.
country for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't get my wife to move back out there.
Yeah.
We live in Lake St. Louis now, which is right down the road, and it's a little bit closer to civilization here. So, but we're in a great subdivision for our kids. We've got 3 kids under 7, so it's nice to be able to say, go play with your friends. And they run outside and go play with their friends. So,
right.
It's hard to take them away from that because when you're out in the country, you do have a lot of cool stuff. You can build yourself a motocross track or something like that, but they can't have that interaction with their friends, you know, because if you have property, it's you can go fishing so many times, but it's nice to have somebody there fishing with you, right?
Right.
So, but anyways, so went to Washington High School, graduated there in 2006, and you as well as me, we went on to play some baseball afterwards. So that's our connection there for sure, and but not only were we baseball players, we were adrenaline junkies as well.
I'd say so.
Yeah, indeed.
yeah, as we still are.
Yes.
I've done it all, played it all, and I don't like to sit around. Every day could be our last. Yeah. And I got a cool story I wanted to share with you guys. My grandfather, my grandpa, is still alive. He's 98 years old.
Oh,
and he was
amazing.
My grandma's 99.
Awesome.
They just celebrated their 69th wedding anniversary.
Wait, that's so cute.
It's amazing, ain't it? Yeah, it's amazing. I'm so blessed to have them in my life still. But my grandpa served in World War II, and he's one of the last remaining Purple Hearts from World War II. He was shot by a sniper, right about an inch away from his heart.
Wow.
Going into a little town in Germany, and so. Hearing this story as a young kid, not understanding it, and then turning 7 and 8 and understanding that how valuable life really is, I shouldn't be here. Like that was 1 inch, along with hundreds of thousands of other kids, essentially kids. I mean, he was still a kid; he was only 18 years old. That lost their lives and couldn't have a family. So that is one of the things that I guess gets me going, gets me fired up. Is that I shouldn't be here. My dad shouldn't be here either, and I think that's kind of propelled him to be a business owner. Yeah. It's really neat. That's one of my driving forces, and I love them to death. And they're still chugging away. So it's
a really cool mentality to keep.
I just saw one of the posts about that. I think you posted about him semi-recently. And I saw that and I was like, holy cow, like literally a part of history your family is, and that's super cool. But you're so right, and we talk about that a lot. And I'm not going to let myself get off track here because this could go down a super cool, empowering.
It could.
But we talk about, you're so right, like every day's a gift, life is short, and it's like, and this is going to tie into your story, probably segue that way is, it's like you get to decide what it is you want to do, and you only have so much time to do it, and don't take it for granted. The biggest mistake we make is thinking we have time.
Right.
And so, dude, that's I had no idea. I mean, that's super cool.
That's insane.
It's neat. I think there's probably only a handful of Purple Hearts left from World War II. So
Yeah.
he's very, he's going to be very decorated at his funeral.
Yeah.
Aww.
But anyways, yeah. So I'll start off by saying how I kind of got started with Offroad Armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Started off as off-road body armor. Was in car sales, and car sales can be very tumultuous. I mean, you're there, and it was like every single time I wanted to go on a date with my wife, I had a customer come in and want to buy a car.
Yeah.
And that's our livelihood. So I'm like, cancel plans tonight. I'm going to sell this car, and it was kind of neat because my family, my great grandpa had started a Alice Chalmers dealership like 1930. He started a small engine repair shop in 1928.
Yep.
Got Alice Chalmers, was one of the first Alice Chalmers dealers in the world.
Yeah.
And then
Great tractors. For those like, what the hell's Alice Chalmers?
yeah,
Tractors.
Tractor dealer. Yeah, thank you. And then when my grandpa got back from the war, he took over in like the late 60s, and he wanted to stick, farmers are very color oriented. So he wanted to stick with the color orange. So he got Kubota, which we were the first Kubota dealership in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So obviously business is in my blood.
Yeah.
And my dad,
So is that orange color on your hat?
So that is actually in memory, in memory of that. It used to be red, and I was like, man, I need to stick with the family tradition and go orange.
There you go.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I recently changed up the orange and stuff. So that's why I did it.
Yeah.
And my dad, my uncle, when they sold the tractor dealership, my dad and my uncle started a small engine repair shop as well, and we became side-by-side dealer, and that was my gateway into the UTV and side-by-side industry.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick step back. We'll go after baseball, which has a little bit probably to do with your story, but that was kind of very immediately how you got into it. That's how you transitioned. But at what point in time did you have this thought that, I'm going to be a business owner, I'm going to get after it? Like, there's more than just I was at a car dealership and couldn't go have a date with my wife. That has a huge play in it. That's I get that.
Yeah.
But let's go back even a little further. Like share when was it like, no, I'm either fed up or I'm inspired. Like what was it that you had this idea?
Yeah. So pretty crazy how it really unfolded. So baseball didn't work out. I tore my Achilles, took a 95-mile-an-hour fastball off my middle finger and all that. And a couple string of bad injuries, and I was pretty much done. So I transferred to UMSL, where I met my wife, and the rest is history. My brother actually, he went on to play in the Texas Rangers organization, so he was. And as you played in what organization?
I was down in Florida for a bit.
Yeah,
I went and dabbled down in Florida.
So I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is my dude right here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I get off on a lot of tangents, and you're gonna have to keep me focused.
No, you're
here.
good.
So,
no, it's great.
Okay. So what actually happened was my coach or my boss at the car dealership gave me the book The Secret, and I'm sure you guys have read that, right?
Yep.
A lot of people have read it, and they are successful, and it's just a mentality. It's a mentality to have, and so. But what's crazy also is that I was driving to work one day and I went blind. Now I get these migraines, not very often, but this one was just a crazy migraine where I went blind and like for 3 minutes. But I pulled over on the side of the road, really freaking out, thinking, man, I'm having a stroke or something, And finally it just came back, and I got really nervous. I was in the car business and I couldn't hardly drive a car. I was just nervous. So I started they put me on some anxiety medicine, and I'm always wired, right? And so I can't get my thoughts together. It's a lot like my ADHD kid. He can't get his thoughts to paper. Well, this anxiety medicine also and I don't know if you've seen some of my other videos that I've done, but I hate medicine. Yeah. But the food we eat's bad. It's got a lot of impact on the way your mind develops, and I probably didn't eat the healthiest growing up, nor did I drink the right stuff, to be honest. But this is good stuff, Anyways, go away, shock. And so I got on this medicine, and it really calmed me down. It allowed me to think about my next move.
Sure.
And I just literally read The Secret. It's just the chain of events that happened. And then one day I just stopped by my dad's shop, and he's like, "Hey, we got this side-by-side. We sold a ton of these this year. They don't have any accessories for them." I'm like, "Dang, I should probably build some accessories."
Yeah.
So I started the brand Offroad Body Armor, which is now Offroad Armor. Obviously, we shortened it up to accommodate for Google. Actually,
Sure.
Google, you have so many allowed spaces on Google Ads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Offroad Armor fits perfectly on there.
Yep.
So that was one of the reasons why we did it, as well as brand recognition.
Okay.
So yeah, I started building these accessories.
What was the first accessory you built?
It was a bumper.
Yeah.
Front bumper, and it was just this huge gaudy thing. It was, you could tell it was American made because we like huge gaudy American
Fits
stuff.
on the front of my F-250, and it'll also fit on my side-by-side.
Exactly. That's it. So I still have it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Actually, matter of fact, it looked a lot like our brackets around our logo. That's where I got that from.
Okay.
It looks just like that on the front of a side-by-side.
Okay.
So that's how I created that. So it was a bumper, then we had some tree kickers, we had some rear bumpers, we created some doors, and again, we're the only ones in the world making this for the brand called Kimco. And it was a Taiwanese brand, and Taiwan they have a good quality control over there. So they're really good side-by-sides, just not well known.
Sure.
Kimco was making engines for Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, but
Oh, okay.
so I felt comfortable doing that, and then Articat came out with it was the Kimco. Articat had the same thing, so my accessories worked for that stuff. And a guy from New Zealand, Mike Pope, if you're ever watching this, thank you. He said, "Hey, you got some cool accessories. Let's put them on my website." And then after about 6 months of chatting with him, and at this point, I went from the car dealership. I was fed up being in the car dealership. I went to a place called Timet, Titanium Metals, and I was there for about 9 months. And they had a global titanium shortage. I mean, I think Henderson, Nevada is where they were the smelting plant for it.
Okay.
It caught on fire. And I was no quote, like to SpaceX and Boeing and those places, it was like a year lead time. So I'm like, dang, I just got this job. I'm on the chopping block. I was like,
Yeah.
so anyways, and another thing too is they were training me to be an outside sales rep. And I found out about 9 months in that the outside sales rep is gone 25 or 30 days a month. And I just had a kid. I had my first son. And I was like, man, is this really what hey, $250,000 a year sounds great.
At what cost?
At what cost, exactly. So I made the executive decision to leave, and I went and worked for a salvage yard. So
Nice.
I mean, I knew the car industry, and so I was the outside sales rep at a salvage yard out in Wright City, which is, about half an hour from here. And so while I was kind of double dipping a little bit.
Yeah.
I would drive to a body shop, promote Countryside Auto Parts brand, and as I'm on the road, I would take phone calls and sell accessories. Now, the reason why I was selling accessories is because 6 months after I met Mike Pope from New Zealand, he's like, "Hey, you ought to be my U.S. sales rep." So I was like, "Yeah, what does that entail?" He's like, "Well, I'm sleeping during the day, so I can never get any calls. So why don't you take my calls from the U.S.?" I was like, "Okay, cool." So I'm going to body shops, going to repair shops, taking phone calls, and then at nighttime I'd submit the orders, and at nighttime I'd work, till 3 o'clock in the morning a lot of times. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get started, and so yeah, that's kind of I did leave out a very important part. How I funded the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the neat part is, I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
I grew up with a wooden, even though my grandparents had this dealership, it was a very small dealership up in Martinsville, 1,000 people. And they were very frugal, which, that's great.
Yeah.
And so I didn't grow up with a silver spoon or silver platter.
Right.
I had a wooden spoon and a wooden platter.
Yeah.
And I tried to play video games, and my dad would kick the controller out of my hand saying, "You want to be a professional baseball player? You get your butt out there."
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I did some work. I built a handicapped access ramp for my grandparents. They were both, again, this was 2015, so they're both, 8 years ago? So they're still 90.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Grandpa, instead of, paying me to do this, why don't, I knew that you were going to give all of us grandchildren, there's 3 of us, 3 acres of property on our farm." And I was like, "Can I just get 3 acres surveyed and pick where I want to build my house or my business eventually?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely, do it." So I took those 3 acres And a lady I knew was a bank agent or, in banking, and she got me a loan for $14,000.
Okay.
3 acres. That's what I started with.
Oh, wow.
And so I started with $14,000 and built that first design bumper.
Yeah.
Brought that bumper to a fab shop that is no longer in business anymore because they put out terrible work.
Oh, no.
And I got the first 10 bumpers, and I'm like, no way, dude. Those are not good.
Oh, no.
I mean, the welds were terrible. They were crooked. Like, they had them all on a line, and they were just, like, crooked.
Oh.
And I'm like, how? Just throw them away. I was like, scrap them. So they went out of business, lost the money. Lost the original money.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I lost my original investment. And so I took out I was fortunate. I used to build houses, too, in like, the summer for summer between college.
Uh-huh.
Play baseball, build a house, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought my first house at a fairly cheap price from the builder that I used to work for. And I had some equity in it, so I took out a home equity loan and got about, I don't know, $30,000 or something. And that kept us going. Yeah, it was neat to have that experience of just having to work your butt off every second of every opportunity day that you got, because nothing was handed.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, in the road bumps, I mean, to have the turmoil, to have the obstacles, you know, a lot of people would just shut down.
Yeah.
Like, that would be it. They'd just give up. And it's like, it's a lot of people, and like you, and this is why I wanted to have you on, because we talk about this a lot, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in personal life, or as we're seeing a lot more student athletes, it's
Right.
like, there's so much that's going to happen. It's not about, if you're going to fall on your back. And that way you can see what you're getting up to and get up. Because it's not in your way, it's on your way.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, how many people
Nice.
would have gotten, I mean, grandfather gives you your land early.
Yeah.
And you get money against that. That's gone. It's like, it's very easy to sulk and sit. And it's just like, because now, fast forward to even recently, I mean, we were talking before we got on, some of the cool people that you've met, you've been able to get into. So now let's, you know, transition us as you fast forward into then to now.
Yeah.
Take us through that timeline very quickly, and over these last 6 years, like, what's happened since? It's like, what happened to that first bumper, and where are you at now?
Yeah. So, man, there's a lot of stories that happen in the middle that would take us hours. We're gonna have a whole night for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we've got 5 employees. I've got like a distant cousin working for me. I got my cousin working for me. I got my best friend from high school working for me. I've got a girl
That's great.
that I grew up with in Marthasville that married to my like little brother essentially.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same page, and we're all just some country bumpkins that like to have a good time. We like to drink. We like to go off roading, and we like to race.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
so now we're probably gaining traction to be one of the largest off-road retailers in the world. I mean, there's so many people. Just for example, a guy called me the other day. He's like, dude, how many people you got working for you now? And I'm like, oh, not that many. Well, how many of them have their vehicles wrapped? And I'm like, none. They're like, dude, I'm seeing Offroad Armor all over all of these wrapped vehicles. And I'm like, no. I think what people are seeing is they're seeing the like off-road, and they're relating it to Offroad Armor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that come up to me and they're like, hey, how's Under Armour doing? I mean, Offroad Armor. I'm like, hey, listen, you just referred us to a $7 billion company.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take it.
Right.
I mean, heck, I got a cease and desist letter from Can-Am the other day for a Super ATV product. Now, I think it was an automatic email that had Can-Am in it, but we're on their radar.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see that we're getting. I'm like, dude, how awesome is it that we got a cease and desist letter from Can-Am?
That's super cool.
Like, this is awesome. Like, so I just deleted the product. I was like, I don't even want to have anything. But we are. I see him over here. He's like, man, this guy's got back issues.
No. You saying that, like, literally, we've had something similar, and you literally just provoked in me. Like, we've had something similar happen recently, which is super cool. And I'm the one, like, I'm super protective. I know everything we're doing is good, and it's just like, and you've known this too, like, that $14,000 gone. It's like, everywhere you look, things try to take you down.
Yeah.
And your perspective on that is like, it literally, I mean, I need to remember that too. And you literally just right now, I'll admit, it's like, we literally had something similar happen, and your perspective of, we're on their radar. That's what we wanted the whole time.
Right.
It's like we're here to do so much good and build so many good things and help so many people and give jobs to our family and good friends and, you know, serve people and make sure their shit looks cool and that it's a dependable product. And it's like, we're on the radar with some of these companies and places and people that are, not that money's the issue, but I mean, if you have a $7 billion company, it's a big deal.
Right.
You know, if Can-Am's a couple $100 million, it's a big deal. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be.
So, I've got I forgot to mention my mom. My mom works for me. Heck, right now, she called me up this morning. She's like, she's actually works like a half is part-time job and half full-time job right now. But she's like, I'm just so overwhelmed because I got her a job doing a custom cabin closure for side-by-side. I got her 2 t-shirts. We just bought a t-shirt printing business from a distant relative.
Yeah.
So we're doing t-shirts now. So we got 2 customers that we got to do plus our own.
Yeah.
She's got these framed upper doors that we're the only ones in the world making them for Can-Am Defenders. So they're awesome. We're selling I think we sold 500 sets over this past winter, and it just came out. Yeah. So it was really neat.
And she's babysitting 3 kids and her 7.
No. My wife stays home with them because
that's awesome.
That's a story too. But you know, she was a teacher, and what she was bringing home was what we were spending for daycare. And so I'm like, well, heck, you're a teacher. You can just teach your kids. You know?
Yeah.
But they still go to school, but she stays home with our youngest is 2. But my grandma works for me. She sews up a lot of stuff for us as well.
That's
so
awesome.
I try to keep it in the family. And do we get along all the time? No. But I had this discussion with my mom last night. I'm like, hey, listen, I know that that you might need a little bit longer of a time to do this, but I give you a deadline to kind of get you going. I was like, that's the boss in me, okay?
Yeah.
Don't look at me like your son. Look at me like your boss. And if you don't meet that deadline, no big deal. I'm not going to get that mad. I'm going to get a little mad, but I'm not going to get that mad.
We get annoyed, but not mad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like, listen, somebody's not going to die if they don't get their soft upper doors for this machine, you know? So I'm like, but I was like, that's just the baseball coach in me, you know? I treat my employees like I'm their coach. Yeah. And I think that is the best way to do it. Yeah. Same with my kids. Same with the kids. You gotta.
I do the same thing here. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we all want to be led, and we all get to choose what we get led by. And you know, a lot of people say people who can't do coach, and I don't think that's right at all. Because I believe there's a small percentage that those who coach do it from a great perspective. But it's like, if you don't teach your employees how to do it, somebody or something else will. The more important part is if you don't teach your kids how to do it, something or that iPad will. And it's a dangerous spot to be. And like we've learned that as we've cultivated our team. We have a great team. And it's just like the importance for training and deadlines and expectations. And it's like, who better than the people you love around you to be able to have those conversations with? Yeah. And to be able to lead from that perspective. I mean, that's so good.
Yeah. I really think that has been one of the biggest factors in us growing our brand is the teamwork and also customer service. I mean, when your team is happy, you're going to get better customer service out of them. Yeah. We stay in contact. I mean, there's so many people that are like, holy cow, I'm actually talking to the owner of Offroad Armor. Like, I'm like, hey man, listen, I'm just an ordinary guy that I want you to know that I don't think you ordered the right product for your vehicle. I mean, a lot of people don't know the year because they buy it used, right? Or they don't know the submodel, which submodel is a huge deal. So I'm like, hey, I think you might have ordered the wrong thing, but we can get you the right thing. And so many people, like our reviews are so good. So many people appreciate that, you know. And
that's super awesome that you like take the time to actually tell them that too, because I mean, we have a side by side now. I know nothing about it.
So I was wondering if she was gonna go there.
I need to make some deals here.
We just might. And we've talked about this before, and I'd love to talk about this again. So literally just 3 weeks ago, we bought a Polaris 570 Razor.
A hoopie.
Yeah, we call it a hoopie. Thank you,
It's
Grammy.
starter. It's a
Yeah.
starter. That's all.
Thank
Right?
you.
And
Grammy.
it's like at the racetrack, it's like I don't want to be haul. Like I've got a modified, I've got to haul
Yep.
that, and it's
It's
just
all the
like I've
kids
already got to get a
interest.
24-foot trailer now to haul that and the car at the same time because we just
Yep.
like you bought a motorhome. It's like we got a
Yeah.
lot of parallels here.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's like, you know what? Our kids are 2, 4, and 6 almost.
crazy.
So
I know,
it's
it's crazy how
dude.
similar
It's
we
so
are.
much fun.
We need to get together.
I know,
Yeah.
man. And we're in Darden Prairie, you're in Lake St.
Yeah,
Louis, we
yeah.
live
We're
across the
right
street
there.
from each other. But and I'm gonna transition this here in just a second because we bought one so we can go to the racetrack and she can get the kids to and from whatever. And it's not a 4-seater, but our boys are older. They can sit in the back and hang on. And if they don't,
they
they'll
do.
fall out and they'll learn.
Exactly.
Okay? My daughter can sit on her
Yeah.
lap. We can take some friends with us. And so it's super cool. And that's why, honestly, I mean, we met a year ago. I had a guys event and I loved your story. We hit it off pretty good. We're both so busy and we moved here and I'm like, dude, we need to have you on. So with that, and because I kind of want to know, these are new to me. I mean, I'm a race car guy. I'm not necessarily an off-road guy, but so shamelessly kind of plug yourself with like if you're like what are the options, like what do you make? You talk about all these doors and half doors, and I don't think a lot of people know what that means, and I think a lot of people who have side by side just think they're freaking cool and they have no idea about them. It's like I got a steering wheel, I can drive them, I can put them in gear, but so what is it like? If elevator pitch almost, it's like what are you building for people?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we don't build ourselves. A lot of the stuff we contact manufacturers who don't want to sell to the general public. They want to sell to the dealers or somebody else that can take all and field all the calls.
Sure.
You know, they don't want to deal with the questions and stuff, and that's where we come in. You know, we have great speakers on the phone that can understand. That are based here
I
in the
love
United
that.
So
States.
important.
Yeah, you can call them and have a great conversation.
Yeah.
Good.
An
It's-
actual conversation.
It's so many. You guys have no clue how many times. And this industry is really tight knit, right? Much like the racing community. Like if you blow a wheel in a tire, somebody else has got one, and you're putting.
Everybody
Probably your
talks
biggest
to you
competitor is the
immediately.
first one over there to get it done.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll
So
go into
cool.
that. I'll go into the story real quick into that. But like for example, 570. First thing you want to do, you got kids. Let's get some doors on it. If it doesn't have doors on it, it'll protect them to get inside, you know, in and out. It keeps the dust down. So if you're driving on gravel roads, you get some dust in it. You
Or,
guys have
a dirt track.
Oh, the dirt track, yes.
Pits,
exactly. Yeah, the pits. Do you have a windshield on it yet?
Yep.
Okay,
Windshield
so
on.
windshield is a must. You don't want to be eating bugs while you're rolling around at dusk.
I was looking for, and you can answer this question. I was looking for, you know, obviously everything can come apart, be fabricated. It probably already has been. So take the back off. It's like, could we put a little rumble seat back there where, you know, do
Absolutely.
they make that for a 570?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They do make it's called a high seat.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, now I don't have too many requests for that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we do have it for a 570. Now, the first thing I would ask as a customer, is it a 3-seater or is it a 2-seater 570? So if it's a 2-seater, it's a midsize. It's 2 seat belts, right? Okay, so you have a midsize. Kind of harder to get. What year?
2013.
Okay, so still great machines. I mean, that was really, that was when, 2013 is when the side-by-side market was still a baby. It's amazing. It's amazing. It was still a baby then. Heck, even in 2016 when I really started, it was just booming. And then I forgot to mention this, but I'm going to mention it now. One of the things that I was working at the salvage industry, and my boss, and this is a tangent, but this is
you're
all part
good.
of the story.
No, perfect.
My boss, I had found some dog tags in a vehicle, and I'm like, oh man, this guy, like a salvage yard, it's a salvage vehicle. The guy may not have lived, I don't know, but I was like, man, I gotta find the owners of these. So I found out that you send them to the Pentagon, and they find the owners.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
They find or the spouse of the owner,
Right.
right? And my boss had got extremely mad that I walked in his office and grabbed an envelope. I don't know why he got mad, but I've done it a million times, right? So I was like, I don't feel very appreciated around here. And so it was a Friday, and I remember he set a beer on me. He was like, sorry about that blow up earlier. I was just having a rough day. And I was like, yeah, I love you like you're my dad, and that's why I'm quitting.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't work for my dad, and here I feel like I'm working for my dad again.
Yeah.
Right.
And my dad and I's relationship is great, but
Yeah.
a lot better since I don't work. Because I did
Right.
work for my dad at the motorcycle shop, and I tell everybody, I'm like, I got tired of my dad firing me all the time, so I went out and did my own thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it is so true. Like we would argue every day. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But so that is really and that happened right before COVID. So I had quit my job. COVID comes around. no sales. The world shuts down, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my wife one night on the couch, and I'm like, well, this was short-lived.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go get another job.
Yeah.
And then, boom, it blew up. Like, one of the number one selling things we had was a pull-behind trailer. Like a little 3x5 trailer for ATVs and UTVs.
Yeah.
You know why? Because everybody had these honey-do lists around the yard, picking up sticks and cutting trees and stuff. Everybody was doing yard work.
Yeah.
So that was really like our saving grace, and that it catapulted us, and now we're in the millions and millions of dollars. So it's pretty exciting.
Like from 2013 to 2016 to now, it's like, I mean, everybody knows that whole industry is just boomed. So it's like when we got ours, and that's the first thing I did, and I knew you do it. I knew you did that because I mean, this was literally 3 weeks ago. I bought this thing, so it was only a matter of time, and that's why I was like, I'll get him on here and I'll talk to him in person. I don't even want to. I don't want to call the great people you have on the phone that I can understand. I'll just talk to you. Which almost anybody can do anyway.
But do you have a roof on it?
There's a roof on it.
Okay, so you got a roof, good.
Yeah.
And then a backpack.
I got this thing for $4,000 with less than 50 hours on it.
Oh man, some older gentleman must have owned it.
So from Wyoming, and I told him I showed him what I wanted to do with it, and I was like, look, I mean, I literally have $4,000 cash. He goes, you know what? He's like, I'll take it. And I was just like, because I mean, these things brand new. If I wanted to go get a new model, it's $11,000 for that. At least. I looked it up because I was about ready. I was like, you know what? I'll just go finance it, be done with it. I need it. Kids need it. It's experience for my family. Don't care. Like, I'm just going to get one.
And it has. I mean, just the 2 nights that we've gotten to use it at the track, it's just excelled our experience.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
it's nuts with 3 kids and everything.
Yeah. You didn't even buy it for off-roading. You literally bought it for. That's the best part about these things. I mean, you've got golf carts. We live in the Lake St. Louis community. Golf carts, you can't really take it off-roading, but you can do yard work with it. You can take it around the track. You can take it around the farm.
I can damn near. Well, I bought a 14-foot tandem trailer to haul it on with just because I don't have multiple side-by-sides, and I'm going to end up selling my current race car trailer and get a little longer one so I can pack it on there at the same time. But I can literally, that 14-foot tandem, what do? Put the 2-inch ball on the back, and I haul it out, and I prep it to hook it up to the truck or the RV. Like that thing will pull that thing right out of the yard, no problem.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's just like,
absolutely.
I don't think I hooked the race car trailer up to it and pull it out there. That's a little bit.
Maybe not.
But I mean, but when I first got it, I was like, I'm not too flashy. It's like I don't need all the things. I don't need to look like a spider freaking. I mean, it's a 570, but it's like maybe we can put a rumble seat back here. If not, I'm pretty fabby. I can probably build it, but it's like I'll just talk to Kurt after we have him on the podcast.
Perfect.
Figure it out.
Perfect.
So
We'll
cool.
take care of it. Take care of it.
Now, real quick, of course, here's our 30-minute timeline. I think we got 10 minutes or so left, though. I think it's super cool because yes, we both race. 2 different industries. We both race. I may or may not know who's sponsored by A-Shock. Maybe we'll talk later. Help you out a little bit. But so I don't even know where I was going with that now. Yes, I do. We were talking about in some of the people that you are now sponsoring, and I think it's super cool because I got to meet them down in Florida myself. Talk a little bit about what you're getting into, and it's not so much a sponsorship. You're not just you're a part of something. You're building a community. That's how I look at it. With a lot of the great people I have on my car, and I'm blessed to have some hometown sponsors, some great friends at Ace and Van K Wheels, Ford Visual just out of Warrenton, and a lot of great people, Coke Tech, just so many great people. Myself. I think I'm a pretty good person. But it's not so much that I'm asking them for their money to make sure the car runs. My biggest thing is if I can't do it on my own, if I can't fund it on my own, I'm not taking anybody else's money to do it. So I really firmly believe we're building a community into something we're passionate about, something that our kids can see that works freaking hard. And if you break it, you fix it. Like you had a right front problem. I saw your post. You had a right front control arm issue. And I've had a couple of those as well, literally the same thing. And guess what the kids get to see, look at pictures on? Dad freaking fixed it. So it's like putting your money into this industry, you're helping build a community to pass down. So just talk a little bit about some of the series and things you're involved with.
I'm such a huge supporter of kids in sports and kids being on the right path. So like we sponsor BMX racers out here. Actually, that park was right behind your last facility. And so I would go out there one day, I'd bring my kids, and I picked 2 kids. And they're the kids that their parents were there. It was pouring down rain. They're still out there busting their butts. And one of them just happened to be a BMX, and the other one was a racers. Like, so you've got the tricks,
Yeah.
and you've got the racing. So we sponsor one of each of those guys, and they are both really good. I think one of them's 13, and that kid broke his jaw last year before Red Bull, and still went out there and won.
No,
with his jaw wired shut together. Now tell me that is not. I don't care if he ever won in his life again. As a sponsor,
That's
I'm
grit.
like, dude, that dude's got grit. So we sponsor that. We sponsor a lot of. I love sponsoring females in ATVs and side by sides.
Sure.
Because
cool.
I think that this industry is for everybody. You know.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not just for us manly dudes that can go fix it. You know.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that. And we sponsor. I sponsor a disc golfer. A disc golfer. And guess what we're getting ready to do? Yeah. I want to get this done so soon, and it's been on my agenda. But we're gonna do a trick shot with a side by side. We're gonna mount the what do you call the chains?
The goal. I don't know.
Yeah, the goal or whatever. And we're gonna do a trick shot with my buddy in a side by side. I'm gonna take off, and I'm like gonna jump, and he's gonna throw it.
Okay.
We're gonna do something like that. Yeah, so it's gonna be sick.
Dude, perfect. Look out.
Exactly. I'm so stoked.
You know who else we need to get? You said women in racing and side by sides. We could also get Haley Deegan. If you're watching this, maybe you could have her drive it.
Haley, I talked to your dad last year about this. I actually did. I got a chance to hang out with him at Nitro Rallycross.
That's cool.
That's so fun.
Yeah. He was a swell guy too.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you missing your daughter? I think she's racing in Talladega. And he's like, man, I wish I was there, you know. But we seen him up at ERX Motor Park up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that was a great
Very
event.
cool.
So yeah, we sponsored Connor Martell. That's the reason why we're there. So Connor Martell is Nitro Rallycross racer for the FX1. So these are electric rally cars.
Oh, wow.
Like 1,400 horse. I mean, just gnarly. You can't even get all the power to the ground because it's dirt. You're on dirt.
Right.
Yeah.
And some tarmac. But that is Travis Pastrana's teammate. So Connor, his dad owns Vermont Sports Car, who builds all those Subarus for Travis Pastrana, and also built a lot of the Subarus that they use for Gymkhana. So Ken Block.
No, yep. Yeah.
So I got a chance to meet Ken Block. I met his daughter this past year. Super lovely lady.
Yeah.
Lovely girl because she's still like 16.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Still winning. And so got a chance to sponsor. I think I sponsor a few little kids racing dirt bikes. I got a truck. I was just telling you out in Kansas City. I sponsored this truck. I sponsor way too many people, and that's why I'm not on your car yet. Because
You said it, not me.
and I need to find some room in the budget because I sponsor so many people already.
My goodness.
My dad's like, dude, you have to sponsor all these people. I'm like, I'm looking in the future, right? It's not just now, but all these people that I've surrounded, all these people that I've sponsored, they're probably not the best, you know, by no means. Some of them are some of the best, but they're good people.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, and it's not what you know, it's who you know, for sure. You know?
Relationships are huge, and that's something that we take value in. We always have, and something we've been coached on to really pay attention to, and not just cultivate, not just utilize, and we'll talk more a little bit off the air, and we're going to probably filter people through and have them on again too, because but we'll talk a little more off the air on how maybe we can collaborate together and what we can do. And I know, I mean, if a time comes available, I haven't been knocking down your door. Like I said, if I can't fund it myself, great. Do I see an avenue for it? Yes. And if it ever comes, great. If not, that doesn't matter.
No harm, no foul.
But it was super cool, and I brought that up because I got to meet Pastrana down at Volusia Speedway. He was in a Longhorn car, which is a little bit of I'm not gonna say controversial, but a rival. So I'm in a beak built chassis built by David Rudiman and Kyle Anderson, which are just another couple of great people in my car. I get a lot of information from and build a great piece. But so the chassis rivalry between Longhorn and beak built and Elite is really not a rivalry at all. They all know each other.
Of course.
Arpin and
They all give
Nick
each other
Hoffman.
shit.
So, but that's that was why, because you are in some pretty cool stuff. And you are you have a lot of great contacts for a lot of great reasons, and it's at no expense to them for your own good. It's for the greater good of what we do and what we're passionate about, and I can appreciate that.
I mean, cool. You know what? It's so crazy. So many people are hitting me up, and they don't even want money. They just want to put Offroad Armor on their car because it gives them an avenue to be a part of something much bigger than we'll ever be. You know, like when you see Offroad Armor, I'm hoping you see the faces that we put out there. You know? And they're like, man, I just want to be a part of that. Like kid in Kansas City. He actually took second place on a side-by-side race a couple weekends ago, Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah.
And,
How fun.
And you know what? I borrowed his jack from him, and he's like, hey, man, just give me some stickers, man. I want to promote. I want to be a part of the team, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool. But yeah, obviously we had a little rough go there. The guy in front of me, did you see the video?
I didn't see the video. I
Oh,
just saw
yes.
I saw the post.
Yeah, we went over a blind jump at the end, the finish line, and there was a car stalled right there.
Oh no.
About 80 miles an hour, just straight into him and demolished his car. Yeah, it's a tough deal, but hey, that's racing, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
you always take that chance.
Yeah.
And I was right behind him, and I see his car barreling through the air after he hits the guy, and I fortunately was able to come down and slam on the brakes immediately and get down to about 30 miles an hour, and I was lucky that I was able to drive off. But nobody was hurt. These things got amazing harnesses and roll bars, and there's a reason why they have you do all that stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd still rather be in one of our things than on 70 without a helmet and out of roll cage.
Absolutely.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're a doctor and you drive those things? And I'm like, I'd rather wrecken that thing with a roll cage and a helmet and 5-point, like hooker harness, thank you very much. Like, I'll hook you up with hooker harness. If you don't have hooker harnesses, you need to get some of those.
Sure,
but I'd rather do that than be on 70.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super stoked. How do people get a hold of you? Where should they look? What are your socials? We're gonna put them up. We're gonna put them up on the video, and we'll put links to it. But how do people get a hold of you?
So we got a cool phone number that took me like a year to get, but 580 Offroad.
Okay.
is the phone number.
Very nice.
Yeah. We had like 2 places in the world that we could get that phone number, actually in the United States, and one was in Oklahoma and California, and obviously we chose Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Because that's a little bit more off.
My man.
Love that choice.
Yeah. So offroadarmor.com, guys. We've got like 25,000 accessories on there.
Okay.
With hundreds of thousands more to add.
That's so cool.
We'll be like the Amazon of off-road pretty soon.
That's awesome.
And
Hell
yeah, pretty excited about that. And Facebook, Offroad Armor. We just started actually last night. So you influenced me to this. It's when you get excited for something, you're like, man, I got to do something that I've been wanting to do. So last night, me and a buddy talked, and we created aquatic armor. So he is a specialist in the pond and lake industry.
Oh,
So we have put all of his products, and his mom actually just added all of the fountains and stuff to protect, right? So armor, to protect your pond and your investment from algae and all sorts of stuff that'll erode your ecosystem.
Sure.
So we got aquatic armor. We started farm armor. So we're going to start making a lot of accessories for side-by-sides around the farm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's we're just
Abby will be excited about that one.
yeah, we're diversifying, right? We own off-road properties, so we're started renting out our fifth wheel down at the Lake of the Ozarks, and it's at Coconuts, and it's in like right 10 minutes away from 2 off-road parks.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's called Coconuts Off-Road.
Yeah,
That's the
okay.
name of it.
There you go.
Yeah, we're just trying to diversify. So that's the name of the
Coconuts is
game,
my
and
favorite.
it's a lot of work, obviously, but it's fun.
Good.
That's super cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. Get me some stickers. I'll find a spot on the car for you. Just because I appreciate you. If you ever want to throw something at it, you're more than welcome. I know you don't need the write-off, but I'm going to put it on there anyway, just because I love what you're doing, honestly.
Yep.
And I love that we have a lot of similarities in life, in business, and in passion. So, so Kurt Driemeyer, Offroad Armor. If you need any accessories for side-by-sides, there's so much more. Get a hold of them, call them, and just reach out. They'll get you what you need, people you can understand and talk to. But
enjoy
another hometown business in our area. Really appreciate you doing this. We'll do another part. We can dive in.
I want to come back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome.
Sounds great, guys.
See ya.